It's Pete Cohen here. Now, you join me for another Mi365 podcast, but this is a special podcast that we do every month, which is for one of our members of the month. And I'm delighted to tell you in a second who our member of the month is. But it's amazing the lives that we can change by simply showing up for people and sharing inspiration, tools, tips, techniques. But at the end of the day, it is down to the individual to go about changing their life. And you come across some people, like our member of the month, who has really transformed their lives. So, ladies and gentlemen, our member of the month for April is the amazing Lisa Hoder. Lisa, how are you?
I'm fine.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
How are
much.
you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Congratulations. So,
Thank you.
how does it feel to be our member of the month for April?
Amazing. Just incredible. I was shocked when you called me.
Well, I've really followed you for a long time. Your story really intrigued me, and it was really interesting to see you going through this kind of journey. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm from here. I'm from New Jersey. I grew up here in New Jersey, and I guess about 30 years ago, I went down to New Orleans and wound up staying there, getting married, and having children. And I was a registered nurse down in New Orleans, and I got sick. I had a stroke that kind of changed everything, and I wound up, in the hospital and partially paralyzed, and financially, he's my ex-husband now. Everything just kind of went, it was bad. And we wound up living in an RV. We lost the house, and the kids were grown and out. So that's where I was when I stumbled across you.
So how did you come across it? Because this is one of the things that I just find really fascinating. How did you find Mi365?
I was, I love surfing on my phone and surfing the web, and I found the program Periscope, and I was watching the different people, and I came across you, and you were just, I don't know, there was just something about you that intrigued me, I guess, and I just started watching you each morning.
Yeah.
Or whenever, I think, I don't know what time it was at that time, but I started watching your videos, and every day, and I've been doing so ever since.
Yeah, it's great. I really do feel like I know you, and I'm sure one day we will meet, in person. But just tell us a little bit about what you've actually achieved.
Well, when I was living down in Mississippi, I was overweight. I had a terrible diet. I was miserable. I was very unhappy. And, and watching the Mi365 every day, it started giving me some inspiration, some meaning or something. But so I started taking interest in myself, which I hadn't done for years, really. And I started working on myself, and I started following along with you and with everybody in Mi365. And at the time I couldn't afford a journal, so I made one out of just a little notebook, and I started journaling. And I can't remember exactly who it was, but some people on Mi365 explained how the journal was, and so I did exactly how it was, and then finally I ordered my own journal. I got the money and I ordered it, and so I started journaling, and the leadership last year, it just had this profound.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I made this move. I left my ex-husband and I moved up here, and I was coming back and forth. I have a 97-year-old aunt that lives up here, and helping out with her, and I decided to come up here for permanently, and I did, and ever since I've just been focusing on my health and my eating, and I've come a long way. I've lost 45 pounds. I'm happier. I take more pride in my appearance, and I'm happier now than I
Well,
was.
I think sometimes it's quite hard to put things into words, and even if as well as anyone can kind of explain transformation, the words don't really do it justice, because you know what you've achieved is priceless. What you've achieved, there are real words to explain, getting healthy, losing weight, leaving a situation where it must have been difficult, to leave the people that you know.
It wasn't easy.
But what is it that's driving you now? What is it that's kind of, where do you want to go now?
I'm not, that's, my big question. And I'm trying to keep it small because, I don't have any big goals right now except for being happy and living I'm 56. I've had a pretty full life, and now I'm caring for my aunt who's 97. And I guess my goal is to make sure that she has a comfortable, happy rest of her life, however long that may be. And, and me to continue taking care of me.
So you say, like you don't have any big goals, but I tell you what, a big goal is to be happy, right? But what does being...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
What does being happy... But it's interesting because for a lot of people, I don't think that is a big goal. Even though everyone says they want to be happy, it's probably the biggest goal in the world, right? I just want to be happy. What does being happy mean to you?
Being able to wake up in the morning and look around and smile. And, although mornings are real hard for me, but just being free, I guess. Being free and not being dominated by anybody, and just being able to do what I want. And it just, I'm definitely happy now that I was. A lot happier than I used to be.
Well, I think for a lot of people, as a coach, I'm sure you've seen this as well. Most people have seen it. When they leave someone, it's very easy to go back to that person. It's very easy to go back to what you know. And sometimes it can be a bit challenging if you don't really know where you're going. But let's talk about what you said about leadership, because you said when we discussed that last year, we spent a week on it. We've spent a couple of weeks actually on leadership. It's such an interesting area, because I think most people don't think of themselves as leaders, but we're all leaders, right? We lead ourselves with all the decisions that we make. So what was it, do you think, that I said about that made you go, hang on a second, I need to do something here? Was there anything in particular?
Leading my own ship, like just taking charge of myself and deciding for myself what I want and what's good for me, rather than just kind of tailing, I was my ex-husband, I just kind of was like his shadow. I mean, I really had no identity, I guess. At least that's how I felt. And today it's not like that anymore. Today I'm me. I'm Lisa. Lisa knows what she's doing. I may not have any big goals, but I have a few. And
well, I think for me that's if I was going to say, why did we decide that we wanted you to be a member of the month? The weight loss, great, but for me it's just more about the fact that you've decided, look, hang on, I'm not happy with this. I want more. I want to move away from this, and I want to make my life better. And I think what you've become actually is a real example to a lot of other people who have watched what you do. I mean, not everyone posts all the time, and some people just want to watch. But for me, it's very helpful for me just to see this journey that you've been on. And tell us, what is the support like of other Mi365ers to you?
Oh, it's great. It's great. If I have any issues or problems or anything, happiness, it doesn't matter what it is. I can write a little blog or whatever, and I get so much feedback, and it's wonderful. I mean, you guys are thousands of miles away in London, or all over the world actually, and and it's like I have all these friends now that I can lean on and that give me advice, and I mean it's wonderful. It's a wonderful community, and it's part of my life. It's my you guys are my family. Honestly, is how I feel.
Yeah, well, it's the same for me. I don't do this for, I do it for a reason, and the reason is to help people like you. And I know now that you're giving back. Whether you realize it or not, one of the best ways to give back is just to be an example. That's all.
Right.
Just to say, look what
Well,
they
thank
did.
you.
Well, it's true.
Thank
And
you.
it's so tell me, as a couple of questions I'd love to ask you. Growing up in America, I know America is obviously a massive country, but do you see, a lot of other people, do you think, are kind of in a similar situation to you in life and who just get stuck and don't actually...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially, well, I grew up kind of in the drug culture in the 70s and,
Oh, right.
and just, I mean, I still see people that are stuck in that situation. And honestly, that's kind of where I was with my ex-husband.
Yeah.
And for years, I had to deal with his drug addiction and what it did to our family. And, and I see that everywhere. It still affects everybody. But, and I just would love it if Mi365 could catch on a little more here.
It will.
Because I try to.
It will.
I do. I try to. I share it all the time. I think it's a wonderful community.
So how many kids do you have?
I have two girls.
And how are they around what you've achieved? What do they think?
Well, my oldest thinks it's great. In fact, she follows Mi365, but she doesn't. She bought a journal, but she doesn't really. She kind of, I guess, what do you call it? She's on the outside,
Lurks.
yeah. And she lurks, right? She's a lurker. And my other one is, unfortunately, is she's on her own bad journey. So there's not much I can do or say about her. Just pray for her, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can be there for people, but it's a tough thing, right? To realize in life that you have to be there for yourself because it's the only thing that you can really control. You can only control the controllables. They're things that must be very tough because, the whole mother instincts of wanting to protect and take care. But
it's very hard. It's very hard. But I have to realize that, I mean, she's an adult and I am there if she needs me, but I can't, it's not like she's a little kid anymore. I can't tell her what to do and she's not going to do what I do, tell her to do. So,
yeah. So,
but then
sorry, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say on the other scale, I have my other daughter who is in graduate school, who's doing beautifully. I mean, she's just excelling in life, so it's kind of, I have kids on both ends of the spectrum and it's just, life can be crazy.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. So let's talk about some of the key learnings for you in terms of, light bulb moments in terms of what we've been sharing over the last... when did you start following?
Oh, it was back in about a year ago, September?
Last year.
Last year, September, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
So you've been with us for a while. So tell us, what is... And do you watch every single broadcast?
Yes.
And you take notes as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have my, sorry.
It's okay.
I have my journal and then I have notebooks, all over the place. Yeah. And then I also follow Dr. Chris.
Dr. Chris Pickard. Yeah. Amazing.
Yes. And take a lot of his advice. And, it's like you guys have steered me in such a positive direction.
Well, that's why we do what we do. We do what we do because we want to help people. In fact, we want to inspire people. Helping is like what you're doing for your aunt. You have to help her because there are many things that she probably can't do. Whereas we can't help you, we can inspire you and help
exactly.
You. So tell us, what are some of the other kind of key things that have is there anything that's really stood out for you? So obviously the whole leadership thing.
Yeah, confidence. You definitely helped me with the confidence, and it's hard. I remember I get jogged.
So let me ask you. So when we talk about confidence and the conversations that you have with yourself, I mean, has that changed? The way you communicate with yourself.
Yes, definitely. I am so much more positive than I used to be. I was so down on myself all the time, and I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, I hated who I saw, and physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. I was just as far down as I could be, And today it's not like that.
So why do you think that? Because that to me is interesting. Do you think that that had something to do with that deep down inside you knew that you weren't living to your fullest potential, and that's why you were probably, so hard on yourself because you just. Why do you think that was?
You're right. I wasn't. I knew, I guess, deep down that this is not me. What am I doing to myself? So I look at pictures from when I was back there, and it's like another life. Now I mean, I don't do a whole bunch up here. I don't have a bunch of friends or anything. I pretty much am a homebody, but just the freedom that I have today it's incredible.
It's awesome. It's a conversation that. To have this with someone about why do you think you were so hard on yourself? I mean, I don't know every reason, but it would appear to me that deep down inside you knew that you weren't being the person that you could be, and now you're happier because you are. You're looking to grow and get better.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, listen, we're all working on it.
Every day. I mean, it's I continuously learn, and I love that about you. Say, you can never stop learning. You always have to learn. Every day is an adventure. It's a school. I do. I graduated college and went through all the college and everything, and I take your broadcasts, everything. I mean, I take it as serious as I used to when I was in school, and I mean, it's just it's very, very important to me.
Well, I appreciate that because obviously you're someone who is getting a lot out of this because you're putting something into it. And as a student, if you are a student, I mean, I'm a student, I'm every day studying, learning, and feeding a part of my brain that constantly wants to be fed, constantly wants to take information in. But as we know, it's very easy to take information in that really doesn't do anything for us. What it does, it just makes us feel terrible. So when I asked you about, what's next in terms of like, just not long term, but just like immediate over the next few weeks and months, what is it that you're focusing on right now?
Well, right now I'm going back down to Louisiana tomorrow. I'm taking a trip, going to go see the girls, and I have some dental work actually that I have to finish down there. But to get back, and I'm actually pretty excited about this summer. I haven't spent a summer in Jersey for 30 years really, and my oldest brother lives down the shore. I don't know if you've heard that
Jersey
expression.
Shore,
Jersey Shore, right? And and I grew up every summer we had a beach house, so and my brother lives close to the beach and has passes to the beach and everything. So I'm looking forward to the summer here and experiencing some of the Jersey Shore.
Well, from someone
looking for that.
And I would encourage you, and if any people are in the Mi365 group, to look back and look at the first few videos that you made, and this is something that one of our members, Kate Caruth, she said the reason I'm making this video is one day I will look back and realize just how far I've come, and I would encourage you to actually stop before you go back and just look at who you were and look at who you are today, because in a short period of time, September last year, you have massively transformed your life. You've become a big source of inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see what's next. I personally would encourage you to think about eventually, teaching and sharing other people about how to turn
I've thought about it, because you had the leadership or the speaking.
Yeah, the speaking academy.
Yes, and if I could, I would attend all those things.
I know you would.
And I took speech in college, and I've talked in front of crowds and everything, and I thought about it. I thought it's in here.
Yeah. Well, to see someone turn their life, transformation for me is where you transform, you take some information and you look at life in a different perspective, and you almost turn things upside down. And you're someone who's really done that. And I suppose the last thing I'd like to ask you in just this little podcast that we're doing now is what would you say to anyone about Mi365 in terms of whether it's something that they should look at? I
think I think Mi365 is a wonderful group to get involved in. I think people should give it a chance. A lot of people look at it and think, oh, that's, because there's a lot of different people on the
To look
Facebook
at.
doing these different things. And really, Mi365, if you follow it each day, every week you have a new topic. You're personal with people, which I think is awesome. And, you're not all about the money, as far as I can tell. It's you have an honest desire to help. And and everybody in helps. It's just a positive group. And just give it a chance. That's how I feel. I guess I was back last year. I was searching for something, and I definitely found it in Mi365.
Wow. So how long ago did you have a stroke?
It was 7 years ago.
And how are you now?
I'd say I'm about 90% better. When I had the stroke, I lost my entire right side. I went blind, and the muscles in my eyes flipped behind my head. And I was, for 6 months, I was in the hospital for over a month. I came out in a wheelchair, went to a wheelchair to a walker to a cane. Wow. And I still have my cane, but I have balance issues. I still have a little bit of a limp, and I can't run anymore. But I can see again. It was hard work to that was another transformation.
It's like anything, isn't it? It's like if you want something, you're gonna have to work for it. And I suppose there's no bigger price when you're ill to work at getting better. I mean, I don't know. Do you feel that maybe it was it a wake up call?
Oh, God, yeah. It changed. Just in a snap, it changed my life. And I was nursing. I was in school I was in graduate school. I was all these things were happening that just shut down that one day or night or whatever it was. And that was a wake up call, and it was hard. It was a hard journey back. And
you've obviously, like a lot of people, you've got inner strength, and I think your message and my message combined, I'm speaking for you here if you don't mind, would be, look, don't wait for something like that to happen in your life.
No.
Don't wait for things to get so bad, so difficult that you have to change. Like Hannah, before Hannah had a massive seizure and had diagnosed with a brain tumor, she used to smoke, But why wait for something like that to happen? Remember, like you said, in an instant, we can all change our life. But it's up to you. I'm so excited that you came into our world, and I'm excited to see where the future will go. I think we all need to think big, even if we don't know what it is right now, because the world needs people like you and me and many others who are saying, look, you don't have to settle for this. There is always more.
Right.
Continues. Right. And it's amazing. So I'm sure a lot of people will be inspired by the fact of what you did. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Pete.
And stay in touch, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, well, one of my goals, and I haven't really made this too public, but not this year, but next year, I'm hoping to get to the summit in London.
Definitely. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. See you soon.
Well, thank you, Pete. Have a good